Welcome to Athletes to Entrepreneurs, the Alumni Journey. I'm Rob Finkelstein, founder and CEO of Alumni Direct. We've created the premier platform worldwide to help alumni connect within their alumni groups, whether it be colleges, whether it be athletes, whether it be fraternal organizations or business alumni associations. But we're looking to create content and value for various alumni. So we've created this show specifically to teach and inspire athletes that there is life after sports. And I'm so excited today. We have Julie Chaykin joining us. And Julie is a former dancer, cheerleader. She has been a coach, cheerleading coach, and she runs a very successful cheerleading organization, Boca Raton Hurricane All-Stars in Boca Raton, Florida. And so Julie, welcome to the show.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here.
Well, great. Thank you so much. So I try to make this fun and just ask simple questions. So, what we talked a little bit beforehand, and I will preface that we did have a prior conversation with Mark, Julie's husband, and I know that Julie is going to be fantastic on the show, and then Mark's going to be like, wow, that was something unbelievable. So anyway, when you were growing up, Julie, tell me about, doing sports growing up. Talk a little bit about what you did and kind of how it shaped you going, through your child up until college.
All right. So my recreational sport was horseback riding. I always loved horses and had a horse at my friend's house in Cocoa. I'm from Cocoa, Florida. And my main sport was always cheerleading. I started in the Cocoa Youth Football. I was actually a Seminole in the minis and cheered for youth all the way through middle school. Then I cheered at Clear Lake Middle School, Cocoa High School. I was a member of one of the first all-star teams in the United States. It was called the Palm Bay Rebels, and that was in Palm Bay, Florida. And so that was my main sport. I also loved dance. My favorite was tap. And I also started that when I was very young and danced all the way through high school. I danced 1 year on the dance team at Cocoa High as well. So those are my sports. My dad's a fisherman, so I loved fishing and watching fishing. And my sister was a great swimmer. I tried that 1 year in high school, but I was really slow and could hardly breathe. So I went back to cheer.
So now, I think talk a little about kind of the dedication of cheerleading and just the practice and preparation. I mean, cheerleading is definitely a sport, and you've taken it to new levels with some of the coaching in your own business. But talk about some of the things that you need to do with cheerleading and how that might prepare you, growing up and with the practice, the different events that you did.
So for preparing for the sport, practicing for the sport of cheerleading, a key factor that's imperative, no matter what level you're at, from the time I was little all the way up to now, training our open teams and college athletes, is that every single athlete being dedicated and present is imperative to the success of the sport. Because the multi-facets that are involved in it, from partner stunning, pyramids, formations, it requires everyone in order for those practices and competition routines to be successful.
Great. So what's you mentioned it's gonna be an Olympic sport. Like, when is that? What Olympics is that starting with?
I'm not sure. I'm not on a world committee that is actually organizing it with the other nations around our planet. So I'm not sure, but I know that it's definitely in the works, and they made an announcement that it was a provisional Olympic sport. So I feel that the steps that I know that we're taking in our country is we have a national governing body called the United States All-Star Federation that requires membership from all participating athletes. And then we also have a set of rules and levels and guidelines and age grids that we're all required to follow. So it's similar to the governing bodies of swimming and tennis and other Olympic sports.
Okay, great. So now fast forward, now we're in college and you went to university.
All right.
Talk a little bit about, your experience there. And then within that experience, how, again, back to all the preparation, how it kind of prepares you for your future after college.
All right. So in college, the qualities of having time management, dedication become even more important because now we're entering adulthood. We're all seeking our degrees, trying to be successful in our studies, as well as have time to fit in our mandatory team practices, which are extremely fun, keep you in great shape, and build friendships that last a lifetime. So those life lessons definitely were perpetuated and ingrained in college.
That's great. And I would imagine, and this is something that we're doing Alumni Direct, is that, I think athletes especially, you form that bond when you're in college. And so are there still, some of your friends or, alumni that you still connect with over time?
Well, some of our best lifelong friends, my husband and I, both made in college. They were members of our wedding party. And one in particular, a man named Val Henry, he became a mutual best friend. He was our best man in our wedding. Mark was his best man. He is our kid's godfather. He currently resides in heaven, so we dearly miss him. But that was a friendship that impacted our hearts and our souls, and his children and their mom are still a huge part of our family. So yeah, and as far as just in general, the sport of cheerleading, building those kinds of bonds, since we do things that require each other, partner stunts, for instance, where on our squad in Miami, we were co-ed. So the boys were lifting us up, involves extreme amounts of trust, and in addition to strength and all the other qualities of an athlete. So I feel like cheerleading is definitely a sport that builds lifelong friendships and trust in other humans.
That's great. What's the with cheerleading? I mean, go to like other sports too, and there's that professional level. How is it looked at with some of the professional cheerleaders for the different sports, for like the NBA, the NFL, hockey, I guess as well? Is that a dream of when people are cheering in college? Is that something that people strive for?
Maybe some people. So the sect of cheerleading that I'm involved in and was involved in college, sideline cheerleading, now all-star cheerleading, is different from, we did have a group at University of Miami called the Sensations. They were also cheerleaders, but that style of cheerleading is more along the lines of what professional cheerleaders do, okay, with dancing on the sidelines or on the courts, which is also awesome. So I would venture to say yes, that many college athletes that are involved on those type of squads probably definitely aspire to be professional cheerleaders.
Yeah. So one of the other questions I had is, obviously being a platform we're trying to help alumni is, did you see alumni involvement within sports, whether it be through the cheerleading or just some of the other sports that you were involved with? And it could be alumni athletes, maybe mentoring. Was that promoted at UM?
I feel like for our sport, for cheerleading, helping current students as alumni was definitely something that they promoted. From the second you graduate, we're involved with the cheer squad. Every year they offer an opportunity for alumni to come back and cheer in the homecoming game. And there's social events that take place, and that gives us a chance to network with the current athletes and share, what we're doing, and just the camaraderie of being an alumni. Whether you know each other personally, you have an instant connection.
That's great. And I think as you're going on the journey, from being an alumni and giving back is great. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people. We're trying to work with organizations that want to go into colleges now and kind of mentor these athletes and just prepare them for their future. Again, were there any coaches that were inspirational in your life?
Yes. So when I was there, I had a coach named Danny Reynolds, and he was amazing. Like I told you at the beginning, I'd grown up in a very small town, Cocoa, Florida, and this was the first place that I'd ever been without my family. And he was amazing. He inspired me to go from high school level cheerleading to collegiate cheerleading. He made me safe and taught me many skills that upon looking at them, I thought I would never be interested in doing, but became so much fun. Things like basket back tuck. So we were at college camp, and this was going to be a brand new skill for University of Miami. And at that time I had a standing tuck on the football field. So he felt that I would be a good candidate for the boys to toss in the air and do a backflip. And, at that point, I just had to decide, do I trust my coach? Do I trust my teammates? And so, yeah, that was, of course, exhilarating and terrifying, but I'm proud it's in my book of things I've accomplished in my life. So he was definitely a big part of my life, from going from 17 to, into adulthood and graduating.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I've been watching this the whole time. Dream big. What's it mean?
Okay, so dream big is part of our slogan that we use in our gym. And that I, from a humanity standpoint, I know this, and I try to share it and inspire all the children that I'm in contact with and the coaches that I work with, that if we do not give up, and if we keep working hard, that our dreams will come true and that our goals can be achieved. So with knowing that, we need to set big, huge goals. We need to dream big and set big dreams for ourselves. So it's really amazing to see, children that want to do something go from wanting to and living through the struggles of actually achieving it. And not everybody develops at the same rate, but if they keep going and we keep inspiring them to dream big, then great things happen.
That's awesome. So, now looking at just where going from college and now to where you are today, what kinds of things do you think were instrumental for you in being involved in sports growing up and through college and all that kind of helped you transition from, being that college athlete to ultimately running your own business?
I feel that the people that I've been in contact with, so from my own personal experiences and my children's growing up, my daughter and my son, I feel that teachers and coaches can have a huge impact on a child's life and on a family's life. So, like I said, in college, I had the blessing of having an amazing coach, and I've had some wonderful teachers, and my kids have had a combination of both. So that really molded me into somebody that wanted to be nothing but positive and give positive light to children. And so I inspire my staff to be that way and live my life that way. So that's definitely had an impact on my current things that we're doing.
That's great. That's awesome. So one other question related to what advice would you give to athletes today in their journey, and how they can once, whether it's their career is done after college, whether they were a professional athlete, what advice would you give to them?
I would say to them to take every great thing that they've learned from the people that have molded them, and all the lessons that they've learned from struggles that have made them stronger, and have that innate grit to never give up, and take all of those things, and whether it's their major in college or not, and find a way to use them to help other people and to make themselves happy.
That's great. I really like that. So now we get to the part I always say I give the beginning is kind of like that 30,000 foot view. So now let's get more specifics. Kind of tell us what you're doing today. This is now your commercial a little bit. What you're doing, how people can find you.
Okay, so our business is called Boca Raton Hurricane All Stars Cheerleading. Our main gym is in Boca on West Rogers Circle. And then we also do an outreach program for the city of Boca at the Sugar Sand Park and Community Center. And what we do is train kids in cheerleading. We start at age 4, turning 5, and we have all levels, all the way up to collegiate athletes that train in our open program. And we train, we have a lot of fun, we work hard, and it's a life journey for us. It's a mission of my heart to help them achieve their goals and to really get to live the truth of working as a team, dedicating yourself to each other, bonding with this amazing group, and living a sport that's so fulfilling and so fun.
That's great. Do you have people coming back now? I guess you have like alumni, so to speak, of girls or guys that you coached along the way over the years that have come back and thanked you and just gotten involved in the coaching aspect, or just in general appreciating it.
So we currently have an athlete at University of Miami. Her name is Alexis Grace Sabransky, and she was a part of our senior cyclone team 4 or 5 years ago. And now she's on the equestrian team at University of Miami. So she's actually our first athlete to become a athlete, which we're really excited about. And we get alumni from really many different colleges that just love cheer and love the sport, that come in and train with us and work with us. So every one of my coaches has had cheerleading in their background at some point in college. And we just, share the love of what we do with all the kids. And we also have some families that are Hurricane alumni. So they're so psyched that their kids get to wear the orange and green. Yeah, so it's really fun.
That's great. That's great. So how can people find you? Is there like a website?
Yep.
What's the best way to get a hold of you?
So our website is hurricanecheerleading.com. And we're on social media for Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, Boca Raton Hurricane All Stars Cheerleading. Yep.
That's great. So this has been a lot of fun. Everybody, you can find us at alumnidirect.com. We will continue to try to come up with shows, not only this one, but other shows to provide value and content out to alumni. So Julie, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure tonight, and really appreciate it.
Yay, thanks for having me, Rob.
You're welcome.